Okay, we are gonna call this select board meeting for March 16th, 2026 to order at, what time is it exactly?
5:34.
5:34 PM, and we're gonna start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, do we have anything to add or delete to the agenda?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. And we'll jump into administrative matters, and
I'll make the first motion. Unless I'm going out of order, I move to elect Megan Smith as chair of the select board for the coming year.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye. I think.
Okay.
Do you want me to make the second one?
Yeah.
Okay, I move that we elect Seth Bridge as vice chair of the select board for the coming year.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And then I will move to elect the clerk of the board, Sara Tully, as the clerk of the board.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye. And then I'll move to adopt the forthcoming meeting schedule as, in general, the second and fourth Monday of the month at 5:30 PM here at the town office and virtually. However, some of those dates are rescheduled, and I would move that we adopt the meeting schedule as identified in the meeting schedule we have been provided.
I will second that.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 And that meeting schedule is posted.
Will it be posted online, Sarah?
Yeah, we'll post it on the select board page of the website. And then, you know, the website is going to be reconfigured. So I think there's going to be a whole calendar.
Yeah. And I'm going to put these on my calendar so I'm in town more often.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay, and then I will move to adopt the select board rules of procedure.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hello?
Loud voices.
Yeah, joining us in the room is Ann Singheiser and Mark Fiore.
Great. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay.
So I will move to indicate that the newspaper of general circulation will continue to be the Rutland Herald.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye. I'll move that the official notice posting locations in the town will be the town office, town garage, and town rec area. And also the town website when required to be posted online. And I'm going to make this motion and you can amend it, but I'll say when, actually, can I just make it those, and then we'll also have Facebook and Town Porch Forum, the additional areas where things will be posted. Not like, because I don't want us to violate our own rules if something doesn't get up on Facebook or in Front Porch Forum if it doesn't need to be there.
Right.
Right.
So, yeah. So why don't you make the motion so that it's, and when appropriate, Facebook and Front Porch Forum.
Okay. And yeah, and when appropriate or advisable, Facebook and Front Front Porch Forum, but that they're not required as part of our required notice posting locations.
Okay. I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, who have we?
Oh, so, yeah, I'll leave this one to Sarah. Do we have a person to appoint for the pound keeper and the tree
We do.
warden?
Yeah, so our animal control officer is the official pound keeper. So you'll be appointing Susan Price. And then Chris Baird is the tree warden as the road commissioner.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to make those or do you want
Sure,
to?
I'll make that. I will make a motion to appoint a pound keeper, Susan Price as a pound keeper, and Chris Baird as the tree warden, town of Mendon tree warden.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let's see. So we have, the policy review and adoption here. Sir, you want to make that one?
Sure, so is the open meeting law compliance policy, is that the same? We're just re-adopting what's currently in place?
That's correct. I had to update some of the email addresses, but essentially this policy is how the town of Mendon will be meeting the state statute of the open meeting law by posting agendas need to be submitted to the office by noon on Thursday so that our office staff can do the required postings online and in town.
Okay. All right, then I will move that we adopt the amended Mendon open meeting law compliance policy.
Okay, I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I will move to adopt the conflict of interest and purchasing policy.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye. Sorry.
And I will move to adopt the town road and bridge standards.
I'll second that, but I have a question about it. Do we have a copy of that, or is that in here? It's the same one, it's the same one as before, right?
Correct. They did add one criteria, which was a yes. They just reformatted it into a new form this year, but all the things that we agreed to last year are the same. The only ones that we don't have a policy for are the guardrails. You'll see that checked.
Okay. So I already seconded that, so we can call for a vote. if you
Okay,
want.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Okay, then we have our 26-27 goals and objectives review and development.
Yeah, we need to go through those.
Okay.
Megan, would you like to go through them? You have it in front of you?
Well, yeah, let me get to them. I switched the agenda. Let me get to the, sorry. Okay, here we go, goals and objectives. So I want to just give you guys some updates on some things that have been going on. The first is Sarah, the reappraisal RFP development. What's that?
That's on Jesse and I will be developing, because we're under the order from the state to do the reappraisal, we have to go out to bid to hire a contractor.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so with our new website company, so cybersecurity is number 2, but with our new website company, we're having many more layers of security as far as our website is concerned, which is where we take financial payments, and all that will be secure under their purview, but there is still, our email is not, but our email is now all Gmail. And I think we're going to look into seeing how to further secure our emails. But we were all, I think, a little shaken by the story in the paper about the solid waste district in Chittenden County getting fished for $3 million. Certainly we all need to be very cognizant of what emails we open. And if there's any question that we don't, but since every email Joy sends me is warned to me that I think we have pretty tight email. Do you guys get that every time I get an email from Joy?
Okay.
We do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think we're getting good security, but we had put a lot of money, and I think you all know this, but I just want to get it on the record that we had put a lot of money into our budget for cybersecurity, and we're using a lot of that money to develop a new secure website. And so once we've had a chance to meet with them and talk about our email, I think there'll be a minimal charge to maybe making our Gmail more secure. We don't know that, but we're going to look into it. But I think the new website will be secure for our citizens as far as using it. I'm confident of that. But, we all still need to be diligent with any town email with what we open. And I'll certainly talk to Chris and Greg about that because they have town email. But I don't know, did anybody see that story?
Yes.
I did not see it.
Yeah, so they got, how much was it, Megan? There was a phishing scam for something to do with the solid waste district, and it was, how much money?
$3 million.
$3 million.
Yeah. So, I think the next morning, Sara, Jesse, and I were meeting, and we had all seen it, and we were just like, so just go back on WCAX, you can watch the story. It's a little, certainly we at the solid waste district watch the story. And
Yeah.
And
So-
it was all from
In addition to the development of the website, Jesse just applied for or expressed interest in applying for the Homeland Security is coming out with another cybersecurity grant that we had taken advantage of a few years ago. So that also, whatever those project qualifications could help pay for some of the things that we're going to implement.
Okay.
Oh, also, on that day that story came out, I just happened to look in my spam filter because I was looking for something from Joy, who always ends up there for some reason.
PayPal request?
And it was a PayPal request from Jesse.
Yeah.
So it was a spam, or it was a phishing attempt, and it looked kind of like Jesse's email, but it wasn't. So I just took a picture of it and I texted it to her. I said, I'm going to assume that this wasn't from you trying to get some access for something and some help for board functions. And she's like, yeah, it was phishing.
Yeah. So we just have to all be really diligent.
Yeah.
Some places will do like setups to see if you'll fall for it, and then you'll.
Yeah.
And a reminder, we can develop training and reminders to all town officials that we will not be asking them to purchase any gift certificates or make PayPal payments on behalf of the town.
Yeah.
That's not how we do business.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next item is the Mendon Economic Development Small Grant Criteria. And in my silly little mind, I thought Greg and I, while we were gone this week, that I could work on this and he could help me develop. I have decided I want these grants to come to the select board. I'm not going to set up a separate committee, but it appears we might be a little busier this week in our duties than I thought. So hopefully by the next select board meeting, I'll have a rough draft of what I'm looking for. Interesting, I did reach out to the new owner of the green house at the end of, right there, right by Sugar and Spice, and say, we were going to be developing this grant program, to stay tuned. They might want to use some of it to apply for some to work on that house.
Yeah.
Which led to a very long conversation, which not going to relate over this to go into the minutes, but have made contact and, one of our blighted properties. But as soon as we get this criteria in place, I will start reaching out to all the owners of the blighted properties. And also we'll have to figure out a PR campaign to get the word out for any potential developers.
Yeah. Megan, not to say like I'm yay or nay on however this lands, but I was thinking about this last week and wonder if you'll probably already have put some thought into whether or not, and again, I'm not sure where I land on this, but whether or not we should tailor it so that, the mass developers who have a lot of money and can afford engineering fees,
Yeah.
I don't think we're necessarily looking to have it help them, but maybe there's a good reason to include them. I was just thinking that this could be for people who it might be a little bit more of a stretch to.
Yeah, but I don't know how we're gonna. That's the kind of thing I just want to. I want to
test it or something
with you guys once Greg and I kind of set up some structure to it. But if it's going to motivate a developer that wants to come in at $5,000 is going to give them a push. I'm not.
that's why I say I'm not totally down on it, but if there were an easy way that isn't super complicated to be able to kind of keep the money that we otherwise would have spent and try to give it to someone local, maybe the applications have some sort of weighting factor for local or something that gives them an opportunity to make their case but
yeah,
and
easier
said than done, I know.
I'll have that on the agenda for the next meeting for all of us to talk about once I get kind of a skeleton policy written up.
Okay.
So the next thing is execute the local option tax. Sara, is that something you do?
Yeah, so I've already contacted the state and they're going to be sending us documents that we need to sign.
Okay.
The first thing I need is the minutes from the town meeting though, and I think Jesse's finally.
Yeah, I signed those and left them on her desk before I left town.
Perfect.
Municipal roads grant general permit.
This is in order for us to be compliant with our general permit, we're doing an inventories and capital improvement plan that Rutland Regional Planning Commission should be finishing up this spring. So that is just something that Chris and I will be looking over, making sure that all of the information is correct in order to remain compliant with the municipal roads general permit.
Okay. I'm just going to keep going through these. Road classification.
That's the project of reclassifying the Notch Road and the Falls Road to the Notch Road will need to be classified as a legal trail or given up, discontinued. The Falls Road is it's a legal trail now, and it could be upgraded to a class 4 road and potentially the entrance to the Falls Road as class 3. So we do need to work on that.
And who's we? Us?
That would be Chris and I, and then it goes before the select board, correct?
Okay. So
Sara, if you want help on that, I'm okay to help with that a little bit. I know if we do end up upgrading, we may need to have like a hearing and there's some legal requirements.
Absolutely. Yep.
I'm a little bit interested in that.
Yes, Sara, that's great.
So speaking of road classification, I just have a question. Is that I got a request today to lower the speed limit on Town Line Road to 30 miles an hour. And I'm thinking that because the class of that road, we can't consider that.
I don't believe so, but it's something that we'll have to look into with the class 2 roadway requirements. Okay. Yeah, because that's a class 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Complete streets.
So the Notch Road is going to be reconstructed this summer, and we need to make sure that we file the complete streets documents to kind of certify that we've looked at the complete street requirements while reconstructing that road.
Okay. Infrastructure projects.
These are all ones that you know about, but we are currently engineering the Notch Road culvert replacement that we received a grant for last year. Notch Road RFP for resurfacing has not gone out yet because we want to coordinate that with the culvert replacement project. We're also applying for the class 2 roadway grant to help pay for the resurfacing of the Notch Road. Journey's End resurfacing, that is out to bid right now. The installation of the radar signs are also out to bid right now. And then later on in the agenda is the installation of the dry hydrant. That is also out to RFP right now.
Yeah, I reviewed all those with Chris, everything that's on the bid board, and got a feel for all of that. So looks like we're going to be able to get those projects done. Town policies, organize and update. I think this is a whole conversation about when we do the web with the redoing the website. I would just like to take that whole section and focus on it at a later date as Jesse's updating the website so that our policies and everything are in order and up there correctly and everyone can see them. Is there anything else about the town policies you want to talk about, Sarah?
No, just pending is the fee structure.
Yeah.
And, you know, we just have to move forward with that project.
I agree. I agree with that. That would be one that we kind of bump up just in case we need to increase some of those fees now, you know, if they're due for an update. The other one, it just slipped my mind. Shoot, it was just in my mind and then lost my mind. Oh, the sign ordinance. So we had thought and talked maybe about, I think there are some questions about whether some Supreme Court decisions that have come down at the national and state level over the last, 15 or 20 years since the sign ordinance was first developed through zoning, might sort of supersede some of those provisions. I wonder if it would be okay to have, over the coming months, our council just review it and flag anything that may need to be changed because it's unconstitutional. I'm not saying that it is, but there are a few things that kind of, jumped out to me when we decided just to take it out of zoning and putting it into the sign ordinance itself. And the only reason I would say maybe we want to think about it now is just that it's an election year and we might want to have it all bundled up before the summer fall. So I don't know if you have an interest in that. It's also not something we have to decide tonight.
Well, I think, I had a question. Well, Chris had a question from the Econo Lodge owners about their signs. And so I called the guy today and said, this has nothing to do with Chris. And then I realized that we had pulled it out of the zoning ordinances, correct? And
yes.
So then Greg said, well, he has to be directed by the select board to handle these signs. He said he'd be happy to do it, but he has to be directed by us to do that. And so I directed him to call the guy back because and I sent the guy the ordinances and I said, this is the sign ordinance. I copied from our website and sent it to him. And then I just told him to follow up with Greg if he had any questions. So, because I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a good point too, Megan. It probably needs to be, we tried to not, to give the appearance of not meddling with it very much and just simply like lift and shift, but it probably could use some, traditional ordinance language around it, like in terms of enforcement and things like that. So it might be a good time to, get a first go at it and then see what else we want to do.
Yeah, so let's pull these things out of this
Okay.
as a kind of for
Standalone.
near future meetings. But
Okay.
in the meantime, he's the only business trying to put up a sign, so I just sent him the current ordinance.
Right, and the short-term rental ordinance, is that also needs updating or no?
That should be all set to go, and actually that goes into effect April 1.
Yeah.
So maybe we put a notice of that on the website or text or text MyGov or something. So that's all set. Or maybe we check in with Greg first just to make sure that he's ready to go with the forms and stuff like that, or we take a look at the forms, because we don't want to text everybody if he needs another couple of days just to take a look at the forms again and get his systems in play.
Well, that's the other thing that Greg and I were planning on doing while we were on this getaway. But if nothing else, we can do it over the weekend and have it for the next select board meeting to at least start reviewing and figure out. So we'll give, because I'm going to have him call a couple other towns to see how they, how did you find out who are on these websites, unless we just have to go on and find them. But I think there's a way, because Airbnb and VRBO are already paying the rooms and meals tax to the state for every property in our state. So I think we just have to get that information from the state. So Greg and I'll work on that also.
Okay.
Onward on that specific property, do you?
Wait, hold on 1 second. Mark just raised his hand for comment. Do you want to do comment?
It's specific to that property that we were just speaking of. Shall we bring it up now, or shall we go into public comment, or?
Well, the constable is on the agenda later on in the agenda.
Okay.
So I think Mark could bring up any.
With that, this is.
It's okay, you could bring it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think it should be revised, actually.
Yes, but just in terms of the public commenting, the rules, we have to go by that.
Okay. So
just keep going. I'm just going through these, I'm almost done with our goals and objectives.
yeah.
Town office, ARPA, we've distributed those funds correctly, correct, Sarah?
Yes, we have, and we just have to execute the closeout, which we don't know what that process is yet from the Treasury Department. So that's just something that we have to do by December of 2026.
All right, town office projects.
These have been on our list of things to do, and I'll just be talking to Jesse to find out if we're going to move forward through any of them. The sidewalk repair is getting, it needs to be moved to the top of the priority list, just because that is starting to shift a little bit.
Oh, Sarah, with that, we did, remember I don't know, many meetings ago said that in the spring, we'd have the town crew help the Historical Society with moving a boulder.
Yeah, that was all taken care of by
That's all
by
done.
Sun Coast.
Oh, okay, we're all done then, okay.
But we can't certainly depend on the road crew for any of these three topics.
Right.
Yeah, and wouldn't, I mean, they wouldn't be doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Continue developing reserve fund timelines.
Yep, that also is going to come out of the inventories that the state is, or the Regional Planning Commission is doing for us. That'll affect the Bridge and Culvert Fund
Got it.
and the Highway Fund.
Okay, grants, 15 grants.
Yep, we got a whole bunch of them. So this just kind of outlines to you what we have pending, awarded and pending, what we're looking into, that cybersecurity, homeland security grant, some closeouts. The municipal planning grant needs to be closed out. And then the applications that multiple people are working on are outlined here between the Better Roads Program, the Structures Grant, Class 2 roadway, VLCT Safety Grant, which can pay for some safety equipment, and the Rural Fire Protection Task Force will help pay for the dry hydrant on Woodard Road.
Did, with the safety equipment you're talking about, is that fire safety or is that stuff for Mark?
Well, there's a list of things that it can pay for. So, but we only get one grant per calendar year. So, if there's different departments that want things off of that list, they'll have to come back to the select board so that they can be prioritized per department. That is a grant that pays for 50% of the cost of certain pieces of equipment. So there's both law enforcement and office supplies and highway.
Okay, so Mark and Seth should come to us with any of that, those requests, correct?
From the VLCT safety grant, which I can provide them with a list of safety equipment.
Okay.
That
so they would
eligible.
come to us and we would then decide if we're going to apply for that grant because we're going to have to match it.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah.
And they'll pay, Sarah, that's 50% up to what amount? Or is there no amount?
2,500, but it might be 5,000. So let me look that information up and I'll forward it to you and Mark and Chris. And then we can start a discussion that way. And Jesse, because some of it is office stuff too.
Okay.
So let me get the whole group together with the specifications and I'll send it out to everybody.
Okay, so last is the closeouts of the grants and grant applications.
Yep, so I just went over that. The municipal planning grant for the zoning rewrite needs to be closed out. That's the status there. That I'll be working with Terry on that. And then
Sarah, just to give you an update, I did touch base with Devin. I think I copied you on that. You might have seen his response. Don't close it out until they do a few more things for us.
Sure.
They still need, just so you are aware, they still owe us a few little deliverables.
Yep.
The map, a full map. They need to go in and put the actual regs into some statewide GIS system, but just so long as that's on your radar.
Yeah, certainly. It's not something I was going to work on tomorrow, but that's a goal for this upcoming year. I don't know when the deadline is, but we'll meet the deadline for the grant closeout on that.
Okay.
And that's it.
So,
Okay, I'm sorry, I will cut out now. Let Seth take the meeting back over.
I had a quick question just back on the town ordinances. What is the alarm system that says completed? Well,
The alarm system ordinance?
yeah,
It's already completed inside in 2001.
okay.
Yeah. So we have one. It's just all of our ordinances just need to be looked at with their effective dates and whether there needs to be any updating. That alarm system ordinance is that people are supposed to fill out information about their alarm system, as specifically that their alarm system isn't going to call out when they have a low temperature alarm, that it's not gonna call out the fire department, it's gonna call out a plumber. Versus when any alarm goes off, they call out the plumber, the fire department, and the state police.
So basically this will be, it's a low, it sounds like to me that's a low priority item, it's completed, but we may want to revise, we may want to pull it out at some point and take a look at updating it.
Sure.
That was that for?
Yep.
Yes.
Probably take action on it as well, because I got a phone call from the fire chief of Rutland City on Friday. They're responding to the common launch multiple times per week. And,
Hold on that until public comment.
gotcha.
So we totally want to hear it. It's okay. It's all right.
That's why I was.
Just,
I
like,
thought
keep,
that's what I had.
nope, keep on that, but we will want to hear about that.
Yep.
Especially now
Yes.
that we have a hint.
Okay, good. So that's our goals and objectives review. And now I will make a motion to approve the orders for 3/11/26 in the amount of $1,390,441.34 and payroll for 3/3/26, the gross amount of $15,886.08 with a net amount of $11,494.74.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye. There's also another order in here. Do you want to include it? It looks like it's the check warrant for 3/17/26.
That is, that was today's payroll or this week's payroll.
Okay, do you want a motion to approve that one too? Seth and I signed it.
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
It was not on the warning, so I'm gonna table that until the 23rd.
Okay.
Just because that was just done this morning, so you
Okay.
can leave
So
it in
no,
the folder.
it's in here.
Okay.
Okay.
And I was looking for it and I did not see an email about
Okay.
it.
Okay.
All right.
And I will make a motion to approve the minutes for 2/23/26.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
I,
Okay. Announcements.
Do we have any announcements?
No?
no,
Okay. And we will open public comment. And would you like to start?
Yes, I would. I'd like to just tell you that the Historical Society met today and made a decision not to move the sign from up on Route 4
Okay.
to down to the town office area. There was some concern about some of the verbiage in it. We will probably be contacting the town to see if the state will make a new sign, if correct.
Okay.
Also, we'd like in the future to sign it, to get something in order to maintain this place better than what's being maintained now. We really need to cut down the brush around it and perhaps even have a little walk into where it can be seen. And we even have some volunteers who are willing to take that on. So that's, just want to let you know that that's for now. We're not going to be moving the sign. Maybe in the future if things change, but not for now.
Great.
I
Did
thank
you catch that? Okay.
I
you
did
catch
that. Thank you very much, Ann.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Great.
That's all.
And I don't know if that's something that the town rep committee would be, if they're looking for, if there is an effort to kind of spruce up the area and make a walking space, that may be something, I don't know if that's within their purview or their interest, but.
There's not a whole lot of space up
Yeah.
there, but there is enough space for a couple of cars to pull over.
Yep.
Safely.
Yep.
And, there's some rumor that eventually that whole intersection will be redesigned So it would be more of a 60-degree than an angled exit. In that case, we'd have to look at the whole thing again.
Yeah.
I think that's a wish list item.
I agree.
Yeah. And we had heard something at some point, if it ever does get redesigned, that there was an interest in having the light move, the light location move, so that when people are waiting for the bus, it's safer. But again, I think those are all part of safe redesign.
But maintaining the space is important to make it more visible, more appealing.
And that can be a road crew initiative, directive from us, to keep it mowed and all that. But definitely, moving it is, I'm so glad we're not moving it.
Yep.
Well, it's just that that's the stand that the Historical Society took
Yeah.
officially today, so.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thanks. Okay, I don't see any hands raised. Well, Mark is
Public comment?
public comment, ready to go?
Sure.
Why don't you start with that?
The fire chief of Rutland City called me on Friday and said that they had another alarm at the Econo Lodge, and they've been responding to it multiple times per week, which we are getting billed. I don't think it's a registered alarm, but that's something we should probably look at as far as billing them, because we're getting charged a significant amount of money every time the fire department responds there.
Yes, I just want to say something. I had just reviewed the report from the fire department from the last invoice of the last activity, and it didn't look like any, although there were several charges, it was mostly car accidents and things like that. So if the Econo Lodge is getting their alarm is causing us, we will bill those owners, because there's not supposed to be anybody in there.
Yeah, it's apparently occupied, and there's some other red flags there that the fire chief has been notified of, and most likely reaching out to the state. But that's something that they should be aware of as far as the registration, and as far as us billing them as well.
That would be the same guy I was talking to today about the sign, right?
Say that again?
That would be the same guy that I was talking to today about their sign.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably.
He needs to come fill out the registration app for the alarm and pay the fee, but I think something should be done. And I haven't read completely through this ordinance. It was signed in 2001. They adopted it, but I haven't looked through to see what the unregistered alarm fee would be if the fire department keeps responding there multiple times, because that's adding up quite a bit.
So I think Sarah has some history on that.
I do. So, I think, Mark, why don't we set up a meeting to, sit down and go over the call sheets?
Okay.
That if you could get the call sheets from Bill Lovett.
Yeah, I have, I think he just emailed me November to maybe mid-February, something like that. I'd have to look.
Right. All right. And then Megan, we'll get that information to you so that, and Greg, so that as you're talking to them about signs, we can also address the false alarms.
Okay.
And also, when you're meeting with Mark, if he could also share whatever flags he felt were raised in the conversation. Some of them might be in Greg's purview if there's a notice of violation that, if it's a zoning issue.
Yeah.
So feel free to share that other stuff with them offline, and then they can.
Yeah, it's more fire division, fire safety.
Okay.
state farm work stuff by the sound.
Okay. But if there appears to be any occupation, without a certificate of occupancy, that can also be a zoning violation. What else?
So I, got our ECIC, agreement. They approved me to use state police dispatch and be able to run license plates, driver's licenses, and if there was an arrest, the state police would do the criminal history and submit to the state's attorney for that specific case. That was all approved by UCIC. And then I spoke with Lieutenant Gino about the sub-grant, which it's a Governor's Highway Safety Grant. And it's for traffic enforcement, and DUI patrol, speed enforcement, all right through this area here. So it's a sub-grant. Basically, I would be able to work this sub-grant at a set rate and submit my activity sheets to Lieutenant Gino. He's in charge for Rutland and Windsor County. And they would pay for my time while I was working this specific safety grant. And on this specific, whether it's DUI patrol or speed enforcement right here in Mendon, distracted driving, stuff like that. There's activity sheets you fill out. I filled out the paperwork and gave it back or emailed it back to Lieutenant Gino. I'm not sure what the amount is as far as the sub-grant. There are some things that we would just need to go over for insurance, but the cost of me working that specific grant, I wouldn't submit time to the town. It would be submitted directly to the Governor's Highway Safety Coordinator for this area, which is Lieutenant Gino.
So if you were working that on that grant, and you were doing speeding and that kind of thing through town and pull people over, would that revenue come to us to help pay for any insurance we would need to have you doing that?
Yes, so I established a entity number with the Judicial Bureau, and they assigned my officer number to this jurisdiction because it was just assigned to Castleton. So any ticket that I write, I have a specific town code I put on it, and typically it's the 1007 violation, like Route 4 here, where it drops down to 40. So majority of that goes to the town. I don't know the percentages, but I have the full ability to issue tickets, and I have the entity number. It's all set up with the Judicial Bureau. I worked on that the other day, Friday. Or Thursday, they sent it to me on Friday via email.
Did you find out about the insurance, our insurance obligation? Or Sarah, have you found anything out about that?
No, we've been advised by VLCT, and I forwarded that information to Sara, and I wanted to get her her guidance on it. I know you're not giving us legal advice on that, but your guidance and whether we need to go to Matt or somebody for legal advice.
I'll just say, I'm not necessarily opposed to going in this direction, but it is a big decision that I think we need to think through. And that is the actual decision of moving the constable position to actually doing law enforcement duties. I'm fairly confident that what happens when we go in this direction is we will need to have insurance, and get a quote on that. But we'll also have to make sure that we're in compliance with some of the, what's it called? The, Justice Council,
Yeah, Vermont
Criminal Justice Council.
So their policies are right on the website. You can adopt them and
Yes.
switch it to Mendon.
They are, but it's not quite as lift and shift as adopting. And I did talk to former Chief Whipple, who is Trevor Whipple. I think he was the chief for South Burlington, but he is VLCT's public safety advisor for passive and all of that. And, he would help work with us to make sure that we're doing everything that's compliant. But what I don't have real insight into, because I've never run a police department, no, legally speaking, we would then be considered a town that operates a police department because we allow you to do law enforcement duties.
It's under the constable position, so it wouldn't be chief of police. Like, that's why I established the VCIC.
Right, I understand that, but there is another layer to it in terms of operating and permitting the law enforcement piece. And I think that's where I want to make sure that we've got a little bit of counsel and all of our questions are told so that we are clear. And he advised that we seek some legal counsel from the LCT to potentially, because we're in a unique situation with Mark, because he is law enforcement, but not, like, we don't really consider ourselves to be a police department. Maybe there's some unique way that we could characterize our relationship through, he said, like maybe an MOU. But what he's concerned about is that absent some express provision, that we would be subject to the same annual reporting requirements that are somewhat onerous on a municipality for policing and policing activities. And if there's a way we can not do that and still do this, that would be great.
Basically, it's perceived race data.
That kind of stuff, yeah.
Which I've already started. I already have the Excel spreadsheet I got from another constable department that does the same thing.
Yeah.
So basically, I keep track of perceived race, violation, date, time to stop, whether there was a search, contraband found, passenger search, passenger contraband found, passenger violation. It's super, super simple to keep track of that.
I get that, but I guess what you need to understand is that we are the ones who are liable, and so we need to be all, I think, well versed and comfortable with that, because in today's environment of like the ICE stuff, not saying at all that you would be part of anything that would bring us back.
I can't even question.
Right, but people in public, like the public may pull you into a situation where then we're having to account for, did we have our policies in place and were we doing the reporting? And I just want to make sure that before we do that, I have confidence that you would be able to administer whatever is needed, as needed. But I would just feel like we should probably get a little bit of counsel and probably also get insurance. Well, because you're going to need to get insurance, or have us get insurance for you. But that was my original review in talking with Chief Whipple, and then what Sara had forwarded me. I don't know the timeline on this governor's safety thing, but I think
this is something that leaving was given inside, and so it's not new, but
did he do it before? Because I thought Whipple looked it up and said that we hadn't done it before. We weren't somehow we hadn't crossed over to the list of actually checking all the boxes that we were supposed to have checked.
So to establish a police department, that's different than a constable with law enforcement powers. So that would require a lot more steps and hoops to jump through. than having a constable with law enforcement powers. So like part of that is establishing an ORI number for criminal history and having an NCIC TAC person that oversees all that stuff. This user agreement is through the state police, so they're the ORI. The Westminster PSAP is the ORI. They wouldn't be providing me with out-of-state criminal history or anything like that. They would just provide me with in-state stuff and the license plates and driver's license when I look that stuff up. And then I keep track of race data or perceived race and whether there's contraband or not.
Yeah.
So basically what you're saying is it could come with a lot of paperwork. And yeah, but if that paperwork is simply kept track of properly,
It could be,
while enforcement is being put into place,
yeah.
where is the problem for us in the end? Just our simple application to the state with all that stuff, or
I think, yeah,
filling our
yeah.
paperwork to the state?
So that's what I think I want to know a little bit more about knowing.
I would do that.
Well,
I would submit it to the academy.
I trust you, but I will say that I've sought some legal counsel on this, just at a very preliminary level. And I think that you have a part to play and we have a part to play.
You definitely do, yeah.
And that's what I want to make sure that we know what we're doing in addition to that.
You'd be overseeing the mandatory policies
Yeah.
and procedures as far as,
Just
or stuff like that.
figuring out the agenda and
But,
Yep,
the data that I was talking about, I would submit to the
Yes.
training council.
yep. So what I would propose is that we dig in and find out, and Sarah, maybe with your help, we can get on with Whipple and VLCT and passive. Unless there are further questions, in addition to what I'm about to say, I would say at the very least, we need to know what are the requirements that the town has to go through. Like, do we have to get into an MOU with Mark or something like that because we think we're not establishing a police department? So I think we need to figure that out from the VLCT MAC attorneys. And then our insurance obligation, and then any reporting obligation that we have that's separate from what you have. Those are the three things that I'm thinking we would need to know before we go yay on that. But that's just my read of what I think is ahead, and we can probably do that, get those answers, in the next 2 weeks.
Like all the stuff that I've gathered is based off of my certification or training.
Yeah,
So it's not
inventing the wheel, yeah.
But adopting the mandatory policies, the select board would oversee that.
Yeah.
And make sure we have the proper insurance, but there is a difference with constable versus the police department side.
Right.
There's a lot.
Well, I hear you, but I also heard him say, be careful, you're in a gray area, because the law isn't very clear that it's not necessarily considered not a police department, and some towns have been burned by that. So I think there could be a path where we can stay on the easy side of it.
Yeah, stay out of the gray.
Yeah, and stay out of the gray area.
I don't wanna be in that situation.
But I think the first question I have for you and Megan too is, I'm the newest one to the scene, and I was under the understanding that the constable before didn't have law enforcement duties, and we would be changing that. Now we would have Mark do some limited law enforcement duties, and that would be a change in, the job description, which I'm okay with, but I also want to make sure it's not stumbled into, but it's like intentionally, we're intentionally moving in that direction, and I leave that to the two of you to weigh in on.
Yeah, and I think we appreciate the work and research Mark has done. to bring it forward to us, and I think we need to consider it. And there's a lot of more research that has to be done as far as insurance and anything the things that you're talking about, Sarah. And I think it's a big decision. It's nothing we're going to make in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay. In general, are you in the same mind?
I'm in the same mind.
We'll get our questions answered
I'm
first.
interested to know, I'm interested to know where we stand with it, and, we have the opportunity, so if it's something that can work out, I think we should be looking into it.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I mean, Leamy wasn't at all, Leamy didn't have any interest in it. So, now it's,
I do want to correct that, Megan, because Leamy did request the select board participate in this same governor's highway safety program.
right. But then when we asked him to go and do the deep dive, he never did, to let us know what it looked like. So now we know more what it looks like. And, but we also have to know what our exposure is as a town, insurance wise. So, I mean, I think I am enthusiastic about the possibility. I just think it's not a decision we make quickly.
Okay.
What do you have for records as far as when Bill Douglas was in the position?
Sarah, did you hear his question? You wanted to know what we have for records?
Like insurance wise, stuff like
Insurance.
that, because the way I got the entity number was.
Right, so when Phil was working for us, he was working for us as a special officer. He was also the appointed constable, but he was a special officer and did patrols and signed up. And we did have the policing policies in place. And then we moved, when he was going to not be the constable anymore, we moved away from that and hired the Rutland County Sheriff full time.
Yeah, I would not be fulfilling what the sheriff has for a contract with you guys.
Right.
Meetings.
Right.
You would still have the sheriff's department. I wouldn't be.
So, and one of the decisions that we made, I'm sorry, Mark, one of the decisions that we made at the time of hiring the sheriff to provide law enforcement in Mendon was that the department would be managed through that contract, and that the select board would not need to manage law enforcement or personnel that were certified as law enforcement. So that is another layer to this, is making sure that the policies are being enforced appropriately once you adopt the policies.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So those are things that maybe, Sarah, if you and I want to tease those out and come back to Seth and Megan with numbers and thoughts. I think we'll probably even have more questions like, if we were to move forward with law enforcement duties, how, what would that look like with regard to, like Mark was just saying, you probably couldn't hear him, but he said, I wouldn't be infringing on the contract. Fair enough. But then I think we would have to say, here's the specific law enforcement duties that you do and when you do them, and like when they're not on duty, if you get called out, because I think that's where Trevor Whipple, or Chief Whipple, was saying, spell that stuff out, because other towns have gotten in trouble and not knowing when someone was under their, acting as part of your town, as a part of your town versus, some other authority they have to enforce the law, because your law enforcement duties or authority is with you 24/7, pretty much. So I think we'll have probably questions like that to say what makes sense, and make sure that Mark feels comfortable with that too, and it's workable.
I mean, I would think what sounds simple as a special officer, constable.
Right, same thing that Phil did. If we could pull the same thing that Phil did without it going too crazy, paperwork wise and liability wise.
Yep.
Liabilities are is our biggest factor. That's what we're all worried about is liability.
Yeah.
If it's a little more paperwork, it's a little more paperwork. We can handle paperwork. It's not a big deal. It's gonna protect and add a little bit more stability to the safety of the town.
Yep.
You know, so
Yeah.
that's the way I'm looking at it. So there's plenty that we have to look at here. So we'll just get together with Sarah.
Yeah, I'll get, Sarah, you and I can find a time to sort it out.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay.
And we'll,
Keep me in the loop.
Yep. Will do. Perfect. Thank you, Mark, for looking into all that stuff too. We appreciate that.
So Seth, I just wanted to clarify also the agenda. We kind of talked about this under public comment, but he was on the agenda 2 items down under constable. So let's just.
one more page, the next page. I know.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't see
Yeah,
it.
That's okay. So just procedurally, we wouldn't have discussed that during public comments, but
Yes.
we have moved his subject up.
Okay.
Majority agreement of the board to talk about that before the other 2 subjects that were before him. So that's just a learning experience for future meetings.
Yes, yes.
You give me words in that.
Yep.
I figured we all just kind of moved into that topic, but.
Okay. Well, yeah, okay. I apologize for that.
No, that's okay. So now we're back up to the OCCUD,
Okay.
which is the Otter Creek appointment.
Okay.
Okay. What is
You want to land us on that one?
So this is the Otter Creek communication, the communication consolidated
district or something?
union district, and Larry Crissell
Yeah.
is the appointment, and they did say that on their records they still have Val Taylor as the second in command or the alternate, which I would just like to appoint one of our select board members, our current members, to that appointment as the alternate, even though they really don't have to do anything because Larry is extremely active on this committee. But we just want to replace a former select board member with a current one for the alternate.
Okay.
Who's raising their hand?
Is that, so I'm looking at, to see if Megan or Seth are raising their hands.
I can tell Megan is that.
If not,
I am not.
I prefer not to.
I'll do it.
Yes, Seth, volunteer for this one. You have to do nothing.
I will volunteer for it.
And if it gets to be too much, we can, you can resign.
I'll talk with Larry.
You did.
So if you could just do a motion to appoint Larry Crissell and Seth as the alternate, and then you do have a form there for you to sign.
Oh, okay. So I'll move to appoint Larry Crissell as the primary and Seth as the alternate member representative for the OCCUD.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sarah, I don't see a form here, but if you think it's around,
In the folder?
yeah, I don't see one in here. We'll look through again, but if it isn't, I'm happy to sign something.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing it from there.
Okay.
I don't see it from there, but. What, just leave it in my box or something, or if somebody or Jessica calling?
Yeah, I know Megan's coming in on Thursday to sign documents, and I was just gonna look at the form to see if it could be just the chair.
Okay.
Okay.
Shall we move to authorize the chair to sign on our behalf?
Sure, that would be great.
I'll move to have Megan be authorized to sign anything with regard to this matter on behalf of the board.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, recap of town meeting and our elections.
It went great.
I thought it went good.
Yeah, everything went very well. So just a recap of the meeting with the local option tax. We kind of brushed on that subject when we were talking about the goals and objectives, but we have informed the state that all 3 of the tax options were approved. They need 90 days to put that into effect, and they will be submitting, they have some requirements of us to submit paperwork to them. And then also, they will send out notifications to all our businesses that they are, that the tax is in place. So that ball will start rolling, and then it would go into effect in 90 days.
Great. I thought it was an interesting discussion on the Australian ballot. It was a really lively and fruitful conversation.
Yeah.
I think what else? And the tax day came and went on Monday,
Yeah,
right? Collection of taxes.
yeah.
Right.
Maybe it's a good time to publicly thank all of our wonderful staff
Poll workers.
and poll workers
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. and counters.
It takes a whole group of people.
Yep.
Hold
Thank
on.
you all very much.
Thank you all
Let the
very
minutes
much.
reflect that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Anything else, anything you wanted to say, Megan, on town meeting?
No, I'm just glad it's behind us.
Yep. Okay.
I felt good about, I wish more people attended,
Yeah.
especially since we have the option for people to attend online, but I guess it just shows that they have faith in us.
Okay. We'll go with that. Okay, so,
Their applications?
applications.
So that's just letting you know that Chris is preparing grant applications, and I'll review them before he submits them. They're due April 15th, but we will be submitting them early. The Class 2 roadway grant, again, is going to apply for the Notch Road resurfacing. And the structures grant is a culvert that he wants to replace on Woodard Road. I'm sorry, on Wheelerville Road.
Great.
Okay,
That's it. Just a reminder that our next meeting is next Monday, March 23rd. At that meeting, we'll be appointing the remaining officers for appointed offices.
Sounds good.
Okay.
okay, very good, well,
Next
on
Monday.
that, you're home Sunday?
Yep. See you next Monday.
You better
All right.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
be. We are, I'm going,
Move to adjourn.
okay, I will second that, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.